What's good, everybody? Good afternoon. 6:26 Eastern Time Zone. How y'all week been? We got in on a good Friday. Still got some schoolwork to do, but we here on a good Friday. We here on a good Friday. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So, main topic is, hey Al. Main topic gonna be about the government shutdown. How does this affect higher education? How does this affect you? Do 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 do. Right. So let's get to it. Yes, we are live streaming YouTube. I didn't even hook this up. That is, that's not the cord. I got so many cords I wanted to show. I got so many cords. So YouTube probably like, this man ain't consistent. We ain't trying to hear it. We don't care if you got school stuff to do. We don't care. I'm like, YouTube chill. Okay, it still work. Can we get enough free advertisement, y'all? Well, don't really matter, right? Little Taco Bell cup. Had Taco Bell today. Type stuff. Taco Bell, occasionally. Well, it wasn't even Taco Bell. It was like a Taco Bell and KFC combined. Everybody like, why is he talking about Taco Bell? So before I do the disclaimer, video tools. Shout out to still having the energy to do this though. It's pretty interesting, right? Almost there though. Tomorrow will make November 1st, and I will only have 1 month of school left almost. So it's kind of crazy how fast it went by. It's like it won't slow down. Disclaimer, the videos presented here are for informational purposes only, and therefore, if you are to choose to attend the institution, please do your own research and consult with a specialist at the institution you are interested in. I'm not a financial aid specialist, academic advisor, or representing any institution during this live stream. Speaking on behalf of creator, Henry is only speaking from his experience. Let's go. So, a lot of the topics I have today are coming from the Chronicles, of course, and there's a list of them. So, I would say the first, remember, this is about the government shutdown and what's going on. The fact that they calling the shutdown squeeze is crazy, though. So, the first one that I like, of course, or like about this, is campus budgeting wizardry won't cut it forever. So most colleges, they say most colleges can keep enough cash on hand to pay 30 to 60 days worth of expenses. Business offices can clamp down on spending and reroute cash to prop up research and other priorities that temporarily lost federal support, but only for so long. So they're saying that only a certain amount of colleges can hold on for so long in these times. They're saying colleges haven't really felt it yet. I didn't know. I don't know. I just didn't think the colleges. I'll be honest. I didn't know that colleges were really. I really didn't know if colleges were feeling the impact of the government shutdown because some students already got their money, I believe. But it's interesting to see, I guess, like doing the budget allocation, like money coming from the Fed level, then reaching to, once the Fed have like how much money they're gonna allocate to education or higher education, it'd be interesting to see, how much is going to the states and, the trickle effect, and from states to the cities and from cities to locals. So within those. So we're just trying to figure that out, right? So that's what it looks like when I'm live streaming. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool. It's pretty cool. As I'm going to because I need to make sure y'all can hear me. Last thing I need to do is be spending time on a live screen and y'all can't hear me. That'd be kind of bad. Kind of bad. Let me see. Bet my stuff is down. They like, man, you live stream once a week? All right, come on, man. Lay off me. Get off me. Get off me. Working on it. Trying to be. Man. Brain is real. All right, boom, 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 boom. Oh yeah, y'all can hear me. Okay, perfect. So right here, it says that the pain points mount out there today. Here is what to watch. This is what Chronicles of Higher Education said what we should watch. They said food stamps stop now. That is no secret. More than 3 million students are eligible for supplemental nutrition assistant program benefits. So I don't know. I kind of want to Google that. Is that a fancy way of saying students can get food stamps in college? Because that's a fun way to say it. Very sophisticated way to say it, too. Yes, SNAP. Those are the SNAP synonyms. The fact that they call it SNAP always baffles me, and they always use it interchangeably to call it food stamps. So they're saying that 3 million students were eligible for food stamps. That's interesting. So pretty much saying that students who are not eligible, let me tell you where this gets biased at. Now I get that most is true, but I'm gonna tell you where it gets biased at in a minute when I get to the bottom. It's gonna be interesting. But it says that 3 million students are eligible for food stamps, aka SNAP, which won't go out as they normally would this weekend. They're supposed to go out this weekend. It says even a last minute deal won't stop delays because it takes time for most states to restart the programs. Restart, go this way, backwards. It says veteran benefits are already a mess. It says more than 75,000 college and trade school students face backlog dependent in survivor benefits because a software problem stopped the payments. And the technicians who can fix it are furloughed. It says stars and strikes reported. But it also says GI Bill hotlines are closed during the shutdown. So people who plan on using their VA benefits to go to college apparently cannot use them. It says more than $75,000. So that means like some people might sit out a semester or drop out. You may not enroll in next semester potentially. Because the way higher education works or colleges work usually, guys, they work in advance. So they're already thinking about next semester. If you're in semesters or quarters, similar but different but similar. They're already planning for next semester. They're already planning for spring semester. And so we can see some veterans having a hard time using their benefits. Yeah, kind of bad, right? Trying to hydrate. Get the migraines when you ain't hydrated. It says, will financial aid payments go out next semester? They're already thinking about next semester. Some of you students might not see your financial aid benefits. Why? Because it's federal, and the federal government shut down. And it says the education department has sent allocations to colleges for the fall and said payments will continue through the shutdown. But higher ed associations, nonetheless, worry what will happen if the government isn't open by scheduled spring disbursements. So, where are my financial aid people at? Financial aid people always hiding. They always like, you trying to. Financial aid people be hiding. They be like, oh, they be hiding. We gotta get them financial aid people on here. Got to. But they already thinking about like next semester, you probably won't get your financial aid. I think you'll get your financial aid reimbursements or disbursements. I just think you won't get it as soon as you usually do. Instead of getting it early, you might get it at the end of the next semester in December. That's what they're speculating, right? So the government shutdown kind of feel like another pandemic a little bit. You know, people not getting their money, people not getting their benefits. And then it's like you got the college version of it. Students gonna be like, their balance might be due, but hopefully there's some step in. But I don't think there's no step in. It seems like everybody's out here on their own during this government shutdown. It seems like it's echoing though. It's like they're starting to feel it a lot more. So it says FAFSA's peak could bring a pinch. Now, I don't know what they mean by that exactly, but let's see. It says the education department has promised to process free applications for federal student aid with remaining appropriations as available. But higher education associations worry the agency will lack enough staff for processing and support this spring when FAFSA filing numbers top out. Now that is true because remember the Department of Education, aka the Secretary of Education, Department of Secretary of Education, Letterman Man, aka the Trump administration, they laid off a lot of people from the Department of Department of Education, because they were trying to, or at least at first they were trying to. I don't know if they had a change of heart because they couldn't do that. The goal was to dismantle the Department of Education and put education back into the states. So a lot of things pretty much are going to be delayed. From experience of working right now in the field, I haven't heard any complaints from students about their financial aid yet. My financial aid people, if you watch this on replay, please comment. Please let us know what you think or believe, because financial aid, a lot of people use financial aid. Believe it or not, I would probably, if I had to put a percentage, my financial aid people, this is just to get your attention. I would say like 60, 70%, maybe higher. Students use financial aid. It's not a rich or poor thing. It's just about qualification. And so it says the bigger picture. This is what I didn't like. Remember in the beginning, I said this gonna make sense at the end, and what I don't like is kind of biased. Very biased. It says that the bigger picture, Chronicles of Education. I like most of the stuff you put out, but I don't like this one. They said low income students are more at risk of struggling, dropping out, or never enrolling in the first place as the shutdown stretches on. And they did not question that. They made that like a fact. That's a little biased, very biased. I don't think that low income students are more at risk. I think the middle class? I think the middle class is more at risk than anything. To be honest, low income, I just don't know, man, because low income students, risk of struggling, it's kind of like, how do you know somebody in low income is struggling? Because I was there doing my undergraduate. So it's just like, I was doing pretty good working part-time, handling business as a low income student, but to say we're more at risk is kind of, like I said, biased. Or students who could be high income could be at risk of struggling right now during the government shutdown, because their parents might be government workers and their parents probably are not getting paid. Their parents could be paycheck to paycheck and be high income. There are people who are high income who try to play as middle income or low income, but maybe they could be affected because they're like, what if both your parents are government workers, for example, in this government shutdown? And other jobs like grants and stuff that you might was working under the government, because the government goes far, guys. If you are any federal worker, remember, it's not just like government. Most people think government is like, I would assume, I don't really know how polices get paid. I wonder, do they get paid from the federal government? I know it's like state by state, like polices, for example, and firefighters. But like, I know we all know for sure, like military, TSA, and many more. If you get federal pay, you're being hurt right now. Not state, federal. And so right now, they can be, so like everybody can be impacted. It's always going back to low income students. And it kind of, I always think if a low income student is reading this, or a parent of a low income student is reading, like when I start showing you the camera, like the side that I be looking at, like imagine a parent seeing that and they're thinking like, oh, you're probably not even gonna be hurt if you play it right. Like, as long as you play it right, just a lot of this, guys, is about the core. As I say, I like to tell students now, as I get older, like, in order to make this debt-free degree happen and strive for it and save a lot of money in college, your core has to be right. Your core is budgeting, saving money. That's got to be your core. It don't matter if you know how to make we hear it now, I know. Luckily, I was brought up in the era where we hear it a lot. If I was just a little older, doing this a little sooner and older. But you have to, it don't matter if you make a lot of money, if you don't have the basic budgeting, saving skills as your core, part of your core. Because as I say, when I used to work out with the football team in high school with the strength and conditioning, he used to, what that, Coach Butler used to be like, Coach Butler used to say, do it wrong, do it long, do it right, do it light. So in the same analogy, make you can make money the wrong way and be making money the wrong way or not saving it the right way for a long time and just won't see no growth and keep that paycheck to paycheck. Or you could do it right and, kind of do it light as in saving money and just keep pocketing it and doing it light. You won't be stuck in that paycheck to paycheck method for long. Just as a quick example, if that was a good one. But low income students are not more at risk. I don't believe that because I was a student in that time going through that. It's crazy. I didn't even realize the government shutdown until I went to the reserves. I'm gonna be honest with you, military reserves, and didn't realize the government shutdown. So saying that low income students are going to be affected more and more at risk during the government shutdown is just don't believe it. Don't believe it. Don't believe it. Let's keep rocking out. So as we keep going, they are talking about something that's interesting. So I can't use the Department of Education website. Check that out. How is that, guys? The Department of Education website is not being updated. The last update they had was October 30th, actually. Okay. But it's about the public service loan forgiveness, which we are about to talk about. But before that, they have not made a post since September 30th. Because remember the government is shut down, so that's part of the Department of Education being shut down as well. And it says right here, public service loan forgiveness could soon kick out employers. I'm trying to see what that leads to. Let's see what that means. I would say pretty much a brief highlight right now. It says the U.S. Department of Education on Thursday released a final rule, which was yesterday, released a final rule that will prevent borrowers from qualifying for public service loan forgiveness if the government deems their employers to have taken part in illicit activities like assisting with illegal immigration. The Trump administration says the rule will protect taxpayers, but Democrats allege it politicizes. I think it's politicizes. Yeah, politicizes student loan forgiveness for the likes of teachers and nurses. A borrower advocacy group promised to sue to try to stop the change from taking effect in July. That was part of the One Big Beautiful Bill, if I'm not mistaken. So, guys, we talked about that pretty much during the summer. That's when we started doing the live streams, and getting some generation. We seen how that experiment worked. It was very efficient when we live streamed every day. That's when I wasn't in school, so you seen the work. And so they're talking about the public service loan forgiveness again. So I am going to on the Department of Education website to see what this is about to get the actual thing. They had a link, but I'd rather just use mine. So if you don't remember me talking about Nicholas Kent, his name, he is the Undersecretary of Education, Nicholas Kent. That guy is pretty important in our higher education. If you don't think it applies, it applies. Remember, started a 2-year, bridge to a 4-year, because it can save you $10,000 and more. It's so helpful, right? And you get it for free. Don't take it for granted. So, U.S. Department of Education announces final rule on public service loan forgiveness to protect American taxpayers. So, remember, if your employer has been helping with immigration, illegal immigration, that's what they said per Trump administration, you cannot get public service loan forgiveness benefits. So, prime example, if XYZ school or college, if your XYZ university, for example, is still helping illegal immigrants per Trump administration, if they are helping students still go to school when they shouldn't, or whatever helping they're doing, your employer cannot provide public service loan forgiveness. Now, I don't know if colleges do that, public service loan forgiveness. I don't have student loans, so I wouldn't know. If I did, I would know. But for sure in K through 12. In K through 12, it's a big thing. I know for sure if you are a school teacher, you work through K through 12, and you work in is it Title One, Al? What is it, Title One? Those Title One schools, like private schools, like the one I went to, you can get your public service loan, you can get your student loans by public service paid off a lot quicker. But if you work at a regular old high school, usually middle school, elementary, K through 12, it can be covered, repaid in normal fashion pretty much. But if your employer, you think about it, if your employer of that school, I think it's school, but I wonder would it fall on the state, because most schools are by the state unless it's private. So you could not get it. And what would that do, as we talked about on the live screen before, that can force your employer, that can force you to leave your employer, which ultimately could hurt the employer if that employer is essential. Let's say that, essential. So it says how does it affect you as a college student? If it does, if your school is still helping immigrants, illegal immigrants, as per the Trump administration, it can, let's just imagine that if all your academic advisors or all your, even better, if all your financial aid is dependent on the public service loan forgiveness to pay back their student loans, and they're like, well, since my public service student loans cannot be paid back, I don't know why I'm still even working here at this institution. So then all your financial aid people will leave, and then now you have nobody to process your financial aid at the school, which can pretty much bag up things, and you can't get what you need, or you can't get nothing processed, and then you potentially cannot go to school, have this money, have this resource to help pay for your school, and many others like VA or any others really. Like everybody can be affected by this. It's really important because everybody depends on the public service loan forgiveness. So now as we go to the post that they did yesterday, I'm surprised I did not see this on LinkedIn at all. Nah, I was on LinkedIn. I'd be on LinkedIn pretty good looking for updates on stuff. Be looking for it. After we talk about this, I'm going to refill. So the U.S. Department of Education today released its final rule to restore the taxpayer-funded public service loan forgiveness program to its intended purpose of benefiting Americans working in public service. Like I said before, if you work in public service, that's like police, higher education. I just never heard nobody use it for higher education. I need to really ask about that. But higher education is a public service job. But anything you can think of this public service. The final rule, actually, let me look it up. I gotta start using the internet when I'm with y'all. Cause I just be like, I be hoping somebody just gonna start listening stuff. I haven't made it to that point yet to have people just listen stuff for me. So let's see. So by AI overview on Google, some public service jobs include, like I said, government, public safety, education, non-profit sectors that support and serve the community. So they said some examples could be, police officers, firefighters, public school teachers, social workers, public health workers, and roles in emergency management, and law enforcement. These jobs can also include administrative and support staff like clerks. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, like I thought. Yes. So the final rule amends the definition of qualified employer to exclude organizations that engage in unlawful activities such that they have a substantial illegal purpose, including supporting terrorism and aiding and abating illegal immigration. Now it says in 2007, Congress established the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program to encourage Americans to pursue public service by promising to forgive their remaining federal student loans after 10 years of both qualifying employment and monthly payments. So when people are on student loans doing the public service loan forgiveness, you have to qualify after 10 years and make consistently monthly payments. So that could be so bad if you're just trying to pay back your student loans. Now remember, guys, this is why you started a 2-year and bridge to 4-year. Or this is why you talk to the 4-year before you even start your 2-year to 4-year journey, and you say 4-year. Do you have an articulation agreement with a 2-year? Do you have a pathway agreement? So simple. I know, I don't change it. I keep it simple, like a chef. I cook you scrubbing legs. I make this fancy meal. You think it take me hours, and it takes the chef 10 minutes to make a lovely water mouth entree for you. And then you come back like next week and the next week and the next week, right? It's just like that. It's just like that. You just gotta have it, right? Then, got some other tips and tricks. But why do that when we got crickets right now? So it says, however, the eligibility standards for what, I hope I didn't hit that. Sometimes I gotta be hitting and I mute myself again. However, the eligibility standards for what constitutes a qualifying public service employer have not been adequately monitored, allowing certain organizations to qualify despite engaging in illegal activities that harm, they said, legal activities that harm their communities and the public good. So as we go right here, I might read something I fully don't understand, so bear with me. But it says taxpayer funds should never directly or indirectly subsidize illegal activity. The Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program was meant to support Americans who dedicate their careers to public service, not to subsidize organizations that violate the law, whether by harboring illegal immigrants or performing prohibited medical procedures that attempt to transition children away from their biological. I'm not saying that part, but you get what I'm saying. It's the NCES word. Yeah, biological NCES. So if, that was directly for sure prohibited medical procedures. If you're harboring, that can go anywhere, right? Like if you are in any organization, a job, pretty much, that's helping illegals, that's what they're saying. If you're helping illegals, per Trump administration, if you're helping, you don't get public service loan forgiveness. So it's pretty much like making you choose an ultimatum, deal with it or don't deal with it. And yeah, normally I go away from these topics, guys, but it's part of government shutdown and it's part of the Department of Education. And so it seems like they're cracking back down on that. So as we said, he signed this executive order on March 7th, 2025. President Trump signed executive order 14235, restoring public service loan forgiveness. So please be aware of that. And so that was into effect. All of this we live streamed and talked about, and it's coming back to life. So let's keep going. So what I took from that, though, it was pretty much what we talked about before. That's what I took from it. But be on the lookout. Be on the lookout. Few seconds, family. Over here. Probably like what he doing. It's water. Cold too. It's like a good it is a great canteen. Keeps the water cold. You see, the water is cold right now. Cold like midnight. Mm-hmm. All right. So the next one is they're talking about ICE. Not really trying to get into that. Chegg won't sell. I did see this post on LinkedIn, but it's so pretty much the CEO of Chegg stepped down. So why am I talking about Chegg, guys? Because I feel like this is a little humor segment for all my people out there who are in college or probably out of college now. It's crazy how fast this happened. Like, I think this is why we should realize how important. I know everybody's like AI, but this is how important artificial intelligence is. Guys, when I was in undergraduate, from the time I was in undergraduate in 2017 to the time I graduated undergraduate in 2022, when I graduated undergraduate, like graduated with my associates in 2020, then I got my bachelor's in 2022. I used Chegg a lot. Chegg was my go-to, like everybody, I believe. And Chegg, a little stock market. Chegg has been doing terrible on the stock market unless they shot back up. But if I go check it when I get off with y'all, I'm pretty sure it's not up. Let me see something real quick. Chegg stock. Yeah, Chegg stock is $1. So I'm gonna go back like 5 years real quick. Guys, back in like 2021, when I was in undergraduate, Chegg stock was $113. $113 per share. Now, today, their stock is $1. So if you invested at the top, the tippy top, disclaimer, not a financial advisor, but just doing some basic math, you lost according to Google's, like they got a little stock thingy. I would say Google's stock tool. You lost about 98% of your money over the last 5 years. Ouch. And imagine if you have like some people be like, oh, but if you got like good amount of money in there, like let's say like 10,000, 20,000, and you lost 98% of that. Oof. Oof. And I'm gonna be honest with you right now. I don't know if they can they probably can make a turnaround, but that's what artificial intelligence has done to Chegg. So Chronicle Higher Education, I'm glad they brought it up. It says Chegg won't sell. It says the homework provider is cutting nearly half of its employees and bringing back a former chief executive. It says, but it will remain a standalone company even after exploring a sale. Chegg, once a popular target of complaints about cheating, is suing Google over allegations that the search giant is sapping web traffic with artificial intelligence summaries. I'm gonna be honest with you. Google is a monopoly. Google is a monopoly, family. Like it's a monopoly. Like Google dodged the case of being a monopoly, but Google, it can't, because I'll be honest with you. When you used to use Google used to lead you to Chegg. But now that they have this AI overview, they're saying like people don't even need to go to Chegg. People don't use, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, right now, as I talk to 20-year-olds, 19-year-olds, 18-year-olds, anybody in undergraduate right now, graduate school, you can't really use AI that much. You can. I'm not gonna say you can't, you can. But we use it more for understanding. Because in graduate school, that's where you like, if you're in the right career field in graduate school, you should be using ChatGPT for how to learn or how to understand. Most people in undergraduate, it seems like they're using it for answers. And I'm gonna be honest with you, you just making me smarter when you do that. So I don't trip if you want to use ChatGPT to get answers and not learn and keep that critical thinking. Perfect with me. Perfect with me. Perfect with me. And so, yeah, Chegg is saying we're going to sue Google. I don't think it's going to end well, but I think that was a fun little segment to mention. As we keep going, I think that's pretty much it. Then they got some reads, but I got another one. I'm always coming, I got plenty of stories that I just be wanting to talk about. So this one was back on October 28th, 3 days later. So let's see. I haven't read this one. I didn't read the other one yet, guys. I was really breaking that down in real time. Kind of don't have time to read that much, but only for school. It says community colleges are, I guess they meant to say are in the crossfire, but community colleges in the crossfire. President Trump says he wants to better respond to workforce needs and develop alternatives to the 4-year degree. Hold on. President Trump says he wants to better respond to workforce needs and develop alternatives to the 4-year degree. I gotta see what he talked about when he said that. When he said alternatives to the 4-year degree, that sounds like the pathway I took. Are they trying to put me out? Are they listening to me but not acknowledging me? We'll see one day. So it says he's even hinted at directly funneling cash from elite institutions to trade schools. Right now, guys, I would say very much everybody wants to do a trade right now. That is no secret. Students are like, oh, what a trade at? Like, I see students right now leaving their universities with good GPAs, which is weird. They're leaving their universities with good GPAs to go do a trade. HVAC, carpentry, automotive. They're really going toward trades. And I'm thinking, like, guys, you might want to get your bachelor's if you was on the steady track, then do a trade. Like I said, I did welding first, and I got 2 certificates in like trades, like certified manufacturing specialist. I did a certificate in welding. Didn't get the diploma, just certificates. Then I said, okay, let me try this traditional school route. Getting associates, getting the bachelor's. Then I learned that everybody doesn't get associate's degree. They just get bachelor's. Then I said, so what's the point of this 2-year college? Then you had professionals that couldn't answer that question as if it was a bad thing. And I'm just like, and then I said, I'm going to put this on some, now I get this thing that people say all the time. They say, if I could go back and do it again, I started a 2-year college. I said, oh, Lord Jesus, if I heard that so many times. If I had $100 bill, because we got to factor in inflation and, all these tariffs. If I had $100 for every time somebody said, if I could go back and do it again, I would start a 2-year college. And I say this every time. No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. Or no, you would not, as my TT would say to me. Like, you wouldn't, man. I see people every day get caught up in the 4-year college dream. And a lot of me and my classmates we talk about too, or they tell me their experience, they say a lot of parents force the students to go to college. And some of you can all relate to that. Your parent forcing college on you, I don't think you should be forced on college, because I'll be honest, at times, if I wasn't doing this grad school program, like if it wasn't something I really wanted to do and I plan on using it after college, I honestly believe that it would have been difficult to complete this. I probably would have been like you can't even make a C in this graduate program, you can't make a C. So I probably would have made some C's and been over with. So, that's something to think about, right? Something to think about. Don't force it on parents. Don't force college on your kids. I do recommend, if they don't want to do college, and you want them to do something, like they're not trying to do anything, just trying to chill. I understand you don't want them to get comfortable. Make them take 1 class per semester, because 1 class, and then a class they would like. Because 1 class per semester and a class at that, and then it's a class they like, it gives them a little hope of like, okay, I want to keep going to college. I want to keep going. I'll keep going slowly. But with the social media, we really have to have a conversation about social media, guys. Whew. Social media is a large reason why a lot of students, I think, don't want to go to college. Not saying the influencer route, because essentially I'm doing the same thing. But as I said before, I feel like you're going to need a bachelor's degree to be a pretty good influencer, at least somewhat good. Not like Mr. Beast good, but somewhat good. Social media is just very distracting. But I'm going to get back to the community college before I go down that rabbit hole. It says, but in reality, Trump is yanking money from the long-touted salve to our economy wounds community colleges. Our Ellie Davis finds Trump recently proposed eliminating all funding for workforce preparation programs under Title II, $729 million as part of repackaging into a single, much slimmer $3 billion Make America Skilled Again grant, down from $3.9 billion last fiscal year. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I hope the next administration follows this. That's all I've been thinking about. I hope the next administration follows through with this. And right now, for us, we don't even know if a Republican or a Democrat, we know Democrats ain't gonna do it. We don't even know if Republicans are gonna do it. That's the scary part, because nobody's really in sync with each other. Like, I be looking at the team of the Trump administration. They don't even look like they're in sync with it. It seems like a few people are locked in, just based off my assumption, but everybody else don't seem to be locked in. I'm just saying. I had to leave that to my social behavior people, my sociology people. Where they at? Where my psychology, sociology, psychiatrist people at? Where they at in the chat? We need them. So it says nearly half of all community colleges have adult learning programs, which help adults pick up personal and professional skills. Now, that is probably the realest thing I ever heard clinical higher education say. I tell people that going to college don't work for some people because some people don't have the professional skills, which is why you should go to a 2-year college. This is why you should go to a 2-year college. Some people who go to universities don't have professionalism. And one thing my 2-year college taught me, well, my parents taught me this in my TT, but in JRTC. So I had a head start on it. But a lot of college students never learn this though, especially if your college doesn't have like a student success professionalism class. I think all students, if you have the option, you should take it. Unless it's forced, if you have the option, you should take a professionalism class, because a professionalism class teaches you like how to dress. Like, even if your job is laid back, like my job lets me wear a sweatshirt. They let me wear a hoodie, a sweatshirt like this. They let me wear jeans if I want with no holes in them. And I can wear I wear Skechers to work, very comfortable. I sit down most of the day, all day. So the Skechers help with my feet. And when I'm doing some walking that day around the school, because sometimes I have to do a little bit of that. You need to learn how to do it. Like, know how to do it and not get in trouble for it. Don't take it overboard. You need to learn when to know how to talk amongst coworkers, right? And so professionalism is everything, but a lot of universities don't teach you that. And so you can have you can have a great GPA. You can have great everything when you're in school in all the organizations. Great GPA. This person, like all professionals know you, but once they learn you're not professional at the right time, your degree goes out the window. So you have to know how to be professional when you're going to school. But my 2-year taught us that. Like our 2-year, like every class, they spent like a segment on that. It didn't matter what class it was. My 2-year spent every class on that. Like they spent the segment on that. Because it was part of our core values as a school, as an institution, like a subscribe. It was part of my school's core values at my 2-year college for you to look professional. You didn't have to dress professional. I used to dress professional because I was getting straight off work, going to class. And I was in college. I didn't expect to go to college. So I was definitely wearing a college shirt. I was dressing like I had a whole nother identity at that college, which was very good because first impression is everything. Before it became cool on social media, I was doing it back in 2017. Before the pandemic, man, the social media messed up everything because some things I say, it don't sound original sometimes. So I really don't like social media sometimes because it really was I ain't gonna lie, it was the gatekeep sauce. Network, I was just talking to, who I was just talking to about that? I was just talking to one of my coworkers about it. I was saying like, man, before the pandemic, networking was so easy. It was easier. And most people now, when you go to networking events, it's not organic because people are looking for opportunity because they know, oh, people respect people who look basic a little bit now. Back then, they used to treat you they still do that now, but they used to treat you any kind of way when you didn't look a certain way. They be like, oh, you don't got this on, but that person could be the CEO or founder from experience before social media took it over. So it's like you got to go at this game a little different now. You have to really like, I think it's good to be introvert when you first get into the room. And like, I know most people be like, oh, I got 10 to 12 connections in the room. You should look for one or two. One or two. And that's sauce. I think that's sauce for anybody right there. You should look for one or two connections when you go to a networking event. And just try to get their social medias most of the time so they can keep an eye on you. Because it's just different now. It's not, you're going to get I think out of 10 or 12, you might get one that might actually work out. Yeah. So they just made me think about that when they said, what they said that nearly half all community colleges have adult learning programs, which is adult learning is its GED equivalent. So that means students who dropped out of high school, right, guys? A lot of them go to community colleges. I didn't know that until I went to a community college. And then where some of them do, once they go from the GED adult learning programs, they go straight to the community college. Then they go from the community college, then they go to the university. Then they keep going, and some of them get their PhD. It's pretty dope. How they do that PhD? I don't know. PhD is like going to the NBA or NFL or professional. When you get that PhD or that doctoral, that's like professional in this education stuff. And I'm like, I'll just cheer you on. That's hit me back in 10 years or 20 years. I might be a senior citizen by the time I go get a doctoral. More than 1 million students are enrolled in adult education programs. First and foremost, shout out to my adult education learners out there. For all my adult education students out there in the world who are not looking at this live stream, you definitely should start at a 2-year bridge to 4-year. Why? Because it saves you money and you get a head start. So when you get to your university, you can rock and roll. You're more focused. Because when I went to my university, I said, bro, these kids are not locked in, man. Like, you are about to go into the real world. Shout out to the university for having more resources, I guess. If I knew about it, I don't know. I just don't understand how we got, of course you don't need more staff than students, but I just don't understand how we have way more students and way less staff. So as we keep going past that, all right, the Title II program, I should learn what the Title II program is. I don't know what the Title II program is. Let me see if Google would tell me possibly what it is. I don't know what Title II is. That is crazy with Chad, though. It says right here on AI overview, it says Americans with Disability Act, which is Title II. It prohibits discrimination against people with disabilities, public entities, including services, programs, and digital content. That's part of Title II, but it does say Title II can refer to several different laws and regulations. Most prominently, Title II of the Americans with Disability Act, ADA. So Title II can be broad. Sound like I would need one of mine. Seems pretty common to learn, but we ain't gonna dig into it because I'm not well versed in it yet. So we are right here. Y'all probably see my eyes squinting, trying to see what's next. Yeah, we kind of said that. This is a little bit. Okay. Here's a little bit on this. Let's see. The bigger picture. While the media has exhaustively covered the Trump administration's campaign against highly selective colleges, community colleges also face repercussions from Trump's attacks, on top of their existing financial struggles in recent years. Yeah, I always say colleges have a problem. Cause guys, if y'all listen to me closely, I even said don't like. Sometimes I will say don't go to a 2-year college that has on-campus housing, because they will bill you the same way as a university. I say that often, and yes, colleges as a whole have a problem, but 2-year colleges have better prices. So in that aspect, don't get caught up in what a community college has going on. I say when you go to community college, just go to knock out your gen ed, man. Your first 2 years, you could take it at a cheaper rate by starting at a 2-year. At your 4-year, you're taking the same gen eds that you're on track for that end goal. If it was very much possible to know the end goal, which you can know the end goal. That's why it's important when you do this 2-year to 4-year route, you have to know your end goal. If you don't know your end goal, you just need to take some general classes. Keep it like simple. Take a math, take an English, take some common universal gen ed courses. Because the last thing you want to do is take some classes that don't have nothing to do with your major. What that means, you can't be in business, right? Taking business classes at a 2-year class for one. If you take business classes at a 2-year college, like let's just say business management 101 at a 2-year college, it's most likely going to be a 1 level or 2 level business management course. Meaning it might not might meaning it will transfer to your university as an elective, or yes, as an elective. So it won't count towards your program classes. It's literally like when you go from a 2-year to a 4-year, it's like leveling up. Like when I got my associate's degree in human resources, sometimes I forget I have a associate's degree sometimes, guys. Like I'll be like, dang, I did do that. I did walk through this process with y'all. So when I got my associate's degree in human resources and I took my business courses and human resource courses, they were level 1 and 2 HR classes. Now, if I wanted to get an HR degree at my 4-year, I was going to have to take 3,000, 4,000, and so on, like 5,000 level and higher if it was offered. I would have to take those higher level classes toward that, the bachelor's. Everything from the 2-year is only 1,000 to 2,000 levels. So one thing I like about the 1,000 to 2,000 level at the 2-year, instead of you doing gym classes and wasting your time, you can do gym on your own. Now, if you are somebody who don't really exercise and you learn a lot in gym, good for you, because you say, I need to learn some gym exercises so that when I leave gym, I learned how to jog in undergraduate. You might say, I learned how to jog because of the gym class. So take things you need. Don't like, you have a wide variety of things you could take. That's why you need to talk to your advisor, your academic advisor, and you say, hey, academic advisor, what can I take? How do I know this? Academic advisors don't get those questions like, what can I take? You can take anything you want as long as, as long as it's in your major or slash program. Like if you're majoring in business, like you want to do business, and business has accounting, and like they have different type of accounting classes. You might want to take an accounting class that's for payroll. You might want to take an accounting class that is for managerial. You might want to take an accounting class for whatever, right? And you could take different ones. You could take different types of these focal points. Like accounting has a focal, under the umbrella is different variances. So keep that in mind. Like you have a wide range. Like I'll be honest, when I got to my university, I had more of a range of what I could take versus my 2-year. Like my 4-year, I had a wide range of things I could take, and which it was covered under financial aid. If I was using my financial aid at the time, it was covered. So like I took accounting classes and I learned how to read balance sheets and stuff, guys, because I got books now that I could go back to if I'm like, what does this mean? Because every balance sheet, when I'm looking at a company, a stock, they balance sheets are different because the business is built different. So if it's something I don't know or need to figure out, I start in the book, or my book way to the computer, then the computer back to the book. See, I'm using what college taught me. I'm using it. So real quick, as we talk about the compact, and that would really be it. We're probably not gonna start doing college reviews until we get out of class. Trust me, guys. I'm not stopping those. I love doing the college reviews, but just time efficiency. They said compact gets a yes. So a college, so they said somebody said yes to the compact, Trump compact that we talked about before. The new College of Florida on Monday volunteered to be the first to sign Trump's compact. That makes sense because Florida is very Republican. So it makes sense that they got a yes from Florida. It says the college is already complying with several of the compact's demands. It pointed out new college got rid of its race-conscious recruitment and retention efforts and gender studies program, for example. Oh, wow. It said, who is this college? New College of Florida don't even sound like a college. It sounds like a random generic college we never heard of, roasting low-key, but it probably is a real college. New College of Florida, yup. It's a liberal arts college in Sarasota, Florida, if I say that right. The new College of Florida is a public liberal arts college in Sarasota, Florida. Founded in 1960, it's a very young college. Founded in 1960, it opened in 1964 and was a private college. It ran into financial difficulty in the 1970s and was merged into the University of South Florida. So when they ran on hard times, they merged. So that was very interesting of them. Interesting. So, okay, they said they already complying. Hey, out of everything on that Trump compact though, I think all schools need to freeze that tuition for 5 years though. Hey, I'm not even in college. I'm not even about to be in college no more. But freezing that tuition for 5 years, hey, that would be clutch for a lot of people, man. That'd be clutch, man. They gotta, hey, man, come on now, help the students, help the parents, help the students now. Hey, kiss the ring, y'all. And let me stop playing. So the college has undergone dramatic reform, changing the character of the student body and upsetting faculty in the process. So they're going to have some internal problems at the new College of Florida is going to have some internal problems. Hopefully they examine but they're going to have some problems. It sounds like the school is going against their, like they said, their character. They're going against their mission. They're probably going against their vision. For one, I know they are because they're a liberal college. So there's nothing liberal about you getting rid of race consciousness and gender studies because you're not being liberal if you're not being conscious of others. That's not really liberal. You're not really going forward. It's literally in the word. But the compact promotes academic rigor, accountability, and institutional transparency. The college wrote in a statement, thus far, other university leaders have disagreed. Other university leaders have disagreed. It says, I would encourage everyone who wants to see what a revitalized campus looks like based on academic excellence, public discourse, and integrity to visit New College of Florida and see it for yourself. Deborah Jinks, chair of the College Board of Trustees, wrote in a statement. So on the closeout, everything we discussed, guys, based on the government shutdown and thinking about it, you should definitely start it to your college, right? I wouldn't say don't get too worked up if you are affected and you are being paid federally. So I'm thinking about students if I was in this government shutdown and I have a federal work study job and I'm working at the college, because you could be affected if you are a federal work study student. You could be affected right now in this government shutdown or in the future, or you might not. Be prepared. Be prepared in the warning. Be prepared to need to pivot to a job that might have to be off campus. Be prepared. Be talking to your supervisor, director. Talk to them. Talk to the high ups. Hey, you think it's something you can move for me so I could be under the state? Try to get a part-time job. If you are work study, I'm all for you should jump to part-time. Do you want to use that federal work study money? I heard some people, I don't know if it's true, but some people can have federal work study jobs and part-time jobs. I don't know how true that is. I didn't do that. But I ran my federal work study money out until I ran it out, then got a part-time job. Those were some good people at Columbus Tech, man. Shout out to them. I always say their name in a good way. Shout out to them. They looked out for me when I was there. And so I recommend that. But you definitely should be looking at a 2-year if you catch this live stream. If you don't, it's really simple. Start a 2-year, bridge to 4-year. Or if you're strategizing, look at the 4-year. Talk to the 4-year. Call somebody in admissions. Call somebody in student affairs. If you don't know what student affairs is, Google student affairs. Somebody in student affairs should know about the 2-year to 4-year pathway agreement at the 4-year. Go on the school website. Find that magnifying glass. Can't wait to show you, but find that magnifying glass. And look and type in the magnifying glass search bar, type in transfer agreements, articulation agreements, pathway agreements. It should pull up what they do, or it should pull up a contact number or something close to it. It's so important right now, guys, that colleges are trying to do more deals because they're trying to figure out ways to get more students to go to college. But at the same time, do they want you to go to college and save money sometimes, right? So it could shift and say we need more people who went to school, and by the time you look up, the value of college has went up a lot. You think it's a coincidence that the value of education is going up as artificial intelligence is integrating? It's not a coincidence, guys. They understand that it's going to be so important to have critical thinking skills in the future that you're going to need a degree. You're going to need a degree just to have critical thinking. Do you know how to operate AI? Do you know that artificial intelligence, when you use it, ChatGPT, Copilot, or anything, when you use it, that it could be wrong? Do you recognize that when it's wrong, like that ain't what I wanted, or you just copying and pasting it in there? So these are skills that are coming right now. Told y'all, I was going to take some AI training. I have been doing it a lot. Any opportunity that I get, I have been, and I am taking notes as if I am taking notes for free AI training as if I pay $1,000 or more for it. Invaluable information. Critical thinking, interpersonal skills, public speaking could not be more important right now. And I will see you all again, hopefully next week, consistently. Your boy gonna work on this paper, gonna go to bed on time tonight, and we will be back. Peace, chicken grease.